What's going on, guys? We are headed to the shed right now. Boop. Today's video is actually sponsored by New Air. They actually sent us a heater. We've got the New Air G73 right here. So when I was thinking about where I want to install this to test it out, I've got this spot right up here that I've already got started where I've got the initial brace that's already bolted up. All I've got to do on this side of it is take it up there and screw it into the piece right there, and it'll be all connected. The only thing that I've got to deal with is that this is a hardwired heater. So we are going to run some electrical, get it wired up, so I've got it on a switch, and then we'll have heat in here all winter. And this spot is where we keep our chicks, we'll keep our rabbits if it gets really cold. So we're gonna talk about a few things today. We're gonna talk about this heater, we're gonna talk about heat for our chickens, for our animals, and we're gonna test this guy out, see how good she warms. So let's get started.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain. Beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
And we're not here to check on the chicks. I am pretty nervous about it because it is 45 degrees out here. Let's see how they're doing. Oh my gosh. It blows my mind, but it kind of makes sense because these mama hens are doing a great job taking care of these chicks, but it is so cold out here. I'm just amazed that we haven't lost any of them. It's crazy. 45 degrees out here. And these chicks just get under these mama hens whenever they need to get warm. That's really cool. All right, so I know you guys had suggested putting some ducks in to help with the flies. And I have not put a duck in yet. But a duck just flew over the fence from the main flock into the turkey area. And these guys are freaking out. They definitely look like they're wanting to attack it. This poor little guy. Even if I put two in here, I don't think they would leave it alone. They might just be investigating. I just don't know if this is gonna work, so I'm gonna watch for a minute. They were really freaking out at first and chasing it around. If they can leave it alone, I'd be interested in maybe leaving it in here to work on the flies, but this is kind of crazy. All right, well, the duck flew back over. Today I was gonna work on the fly stuff. I'm thinking of putting some of the water bags that you guys had suggested to put in there, and possibly the ducks, put them in there. But as far as the fly suggestions that you guys made, those were all some really good ideas. Planting lavender, plants like marigold, but the little bag of water trick sounded really interesting. I just don't know if we're gonna have that many issues with flies now that it's getting really cold outside. But as soon as I put out that video and you guys said take away the traps because that's keeping them there, we took those out and that really started to dissipate the flies. So thank you for all of that. I don't know if we told you guys, but we moved the Royal Palm turkeys about 3 weeks ago. We moved them from a little chicken tractor that they were on their own with the broody hen. We moved them in here so they could be out on their own and have lots of space in here. And so these Royal Palm turkeys, there's 5 of them, and not sure who's male and female yet, but hoping to at least get a Royal Palm pair here to have Royal Palms in the future. We've got this heater all connected. I'm really excited about it, and it seems to be working great. I can already immediately feel a difference going from outside where it's pretty cool to in here where it's a little toastier, and it's only been about 15 minutes that it's been on. So I've got a plug-in right here that I'm able to turn it on with. And this is a really cool option if you're in a smaller garage, a smaller outbuilding, something where you don't need something as big. This is a great option. Now let's look at how it's working right now. Right here, there's a temperature setting. It goes from high to low, and basically if I turn that, it's a temperature gauge where it'll only turn on when it goes below a certain temperature. So you just have to play with that a little bit and find out where your sweet spot is, where you're wanting it to turn on and turn off at.
I like keep it up there.
Yeah, we'll keep it up here.
A long time?
Sure. One of the few things I really like about this heater are the angles you can set it at. Where I have it pretty high up in this room, I can set it at a pretty good angle so it'll point down towards us and direct the heat down towards us and the animals that are in here. I do like that these are adjustable so I can direct the heat a little bit with those as well. And then the ability for it to shut off above a certain temperature. I think that's pretty cool. So this is the New Air G73. It's made for 500 square foot garages, outbuildings, and smaller. This building here is about 400 square feet, so it should work just great. We thank New Air for sponsoring this video, for sending us this heater, and for providing a link down in the description that'll give you 20% off if you get one for yourself.
I hit.
You gonna throw it to me or what? Or are you gonna kick it? We playing soccer or are we gonna throw it?
That my hand gets.
You could be one of the things I love. Sunday morning breakfast with my bedroom door locked. I like everything that has a cherry on top. Get on my list of the things I love, love, love. You could be the one I trust. All the second chances, they are nothing for us. I like it all with the cherry on top. Be one of the things I love. The things I love, the things I love, the things I love, 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 love. The things I love, the things I love. Be one of the things I love. The things I love, the things I love, the things I love, 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 love. The things I love, the things I love.
Haven't collected anything from the garden in a couple days, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Come on, Uriah.
I got green beans.
You got green beans? Show me.
Green beans.
Here you go.
They're the best.
These meat turkeys are getting older. Now they're starting to fight. Good job. You wanna put it into the basket?
That's what.
That is a lot. What are you eating?
Mayo.
Another tomato? Quit eating all my tomatoes.
Now we were initially tempted to put that heater right over here in our chicken coop. Some of you may have noticed that we had a heater here in the past and we had a fan right here. And I want to talk about that because when we were new chicken owners, we thought, gosh, it's really hot out here in the summer. These poor chickens in the coop got to be burning up. Let's get some air flowing in there. What do? You end up babying them and then they end up staying in the coop all day long. And then they don't come out, they don't get sunlight. And so they don't go do what they're supposed to do because they're so comfortable and they get lazy inside. Kind of like a house cat would versus an outdoor cat where they're having to stay busy, stay occupied. And if they're inside, they don't have any motivation, they really won't do much of anything. And same goes for adding the heat. When we've added a heater in there, the only reason we'll do it is to keep the eggs from freezing, to keep them from cracking when it gets down to freezing temps. Because chickens do need about 14 hours a day of sunlight. You can turn lights on in your coop to help provide that. If they're not getting outside and they're not eating, drinking, being active, they are just not gonna lay that many eggs for you. So we'll see how it goes this winter. We may add the one heater that we had in the coop, we may add it back in just to keep eggs from freezing if we have that issue. But it really was such a spot heater that it didn't allow heat all throughout the coop. And so I don't know how much it really helped prevent eggs from cracking. We didn't really have a lot of that issue. If we went out every few hours when it was freezing, then we usually were able to collect the eggs and get them inside before they would freeze.
All you want so known, do you still pretend? We felt the sunshine, we found the gold. We thought we'd be forever young, but now I know we can't keep floating, we have to fall. This is the beat of broken hearts, is it all lost? We can't go on.
But by no means am I saying you shouldn't have heat for your coop. If you're getting down to a severely low temp and you see that your chickens are really suffering in their coop and they're just getting no relief from the wind and the cold, you may have to apply some heat or find some way to block the wind. But for us this winter, we're gonna try it without any heat added into our coop. What's up, guys? Now the one animal that we are unsure of what to do with is our lionhead rabbit. We're on the fence about it because some people have told us they'll be good inside this rabbit tractor if we do block some of the wind and keep the snow out of there. That rabbit should be able to handle the winter, that they're built for that. And these guys do have quite a bit of fur, but they're also on the smaller size, so I'm not sure how well they'll deal with the winter. So we're tempted to put a couple cages stacked inside that barn where we will have the heat And so if it does get really cold, if it does snow, then we can put them in there. But if you guys have any experience with lionhead rabbits, with smaller rabbits, with rabbits in general, do you think these guys need to be kept indoors this winter? What temps do you think they need to go in? We'd be really curious to hear that. And if you haven't met this girl yet, this is Peanut. She's about 4 or 5 months old. She's a double mane lionhead rabbit. So I do have a second question for you rabbit people. We've seen her digging a little bit. And every time we move the cage every day or two, she's starting to put a little hole in there, and it's all right because there's some gauge wire here, so she can't really go that far. If you see right over here, this is what she did the previous spot. So dug down a couple inches, another 2, 3, 4 inches right there. Tears up the yard a little bit. I'm just curious if there's any way to prevent that, if there's anything she's trying to do, if she's trying to get out or just likes digging. So rabbit people, help me out. Whoa! Green beans, noodles.
And you're always in such a rush. With your life playing from the stereo.
So what are we having tonight, hun?
This is beef stroganoff.
What's in it?
Beef, onions, mushrooms, yogurt.
Whoa, whoa.
Yummy. You eating the green bean?
No, green bean.
Green bean from the garden. Did you pull some, grab these today?
Mm-hmm.
Noodles!
Oh baby, this time we'll be gone forever. Never in a lifetime will you see us back here again. So come before it's too late. Hurry now cause I can't wait. Let's put on our anthem. We'll be singing all night long, all night long.
Alright guys, have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun playing out in the yard with the kids, putting up the heater. Be sure to check out the link down in the description if you're interested in the new Era G73, and we'll see you in a few days.
Good night.
Good night.